Hey guys, Furum here. So the Fastlane update to Asphalt 8 has brought around a bunch of changes that pretty much everybody is not happy with. Sign the petition linked below if you want these changes to be reverted. First, we've got the lack of free upgrades and R&Ds. Now they did this already with the Centenario and the TVR Cigaris SE, and it looks like pretty much every single R&D from now on is not going to have free upgrades, and pretty much every car from now on is going to have token upgrades, including this BMW i8, which takes 72 new i3 engines, which you cannot get in the R&D, so you'll have to buy boxes for it, and it's not even the king of Class B. The RX-8 is still the king there, so you'd be spending thousands of tokens on a basically useless car. Plus, you have to be basically max pro'd to win the R&D, so you have to pay those thousands of tokens for the upgrades. Then we have another problem. The Mastery rewards have also been changed. There are no more free upgrades in Mastery, period, and each car gives 50 to 100 tokens if you finish it, but that is nothing compared to the thousands that you'd save with the free upgrades. You can get some engine boxes and other boxes of that sort in Mastery as well as some licenses, so those changes aren't all bad, but the lack of free upgrades is really going to drive a lot of people away. But by far, the worst change to Mastery is that you cannot play Mastery challenges again. This means farming for Mastery is dead. I cannot play the 675 LT Mastery 15 anymore to get credits. And guess what? Cars are still very expensive to upgrade, so we're going to have to resort to Season 9, which gives lower payouts. Or Season 10, which you pretty much cannot do unless you have the MP431, so they basically shot farming in the foot, making it even harder to get these new cars. And now for the next big problem. The Pro Kits, which may very well be the biggest turnoff in this update. What they have done is they've made it so that, in Class S anyway, to apply a Level 1 Pro Kit upgrade, it takes 8 of the car part, 4 of the engine, and 8 mid-techs. This is on cars that have already been in the game. And in the past few updates, to make things worse, they have decreased the amount of fusion points you can get for selling cards. And they have made it so you have to wait even longer between getting the boxes for 18,000 credits or whatever that give you 8 cards. Yes, Pro Kits will now be a nightmare on pretty much any car. It was hard before finding enough engines to pro out cars. Now pretty much every car is going to have well over 50 engines needed to pro out, including old ones. So if you haven't upgraded them yet, oh well. Now, a small saving grace is that collections are still the same. You can still get free upgrades in collections as well as extra tanks and things like that. So keep an eye out for those in the collections, because that's going to be the only places you're pretty much going to find those free upgrades from now on. Events have switched to a percent system like in Asphalt 9. Now, this in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, if the rewards were actually good, that is. They removed the Apex Wednesday free upgrade cups, they removed heat cups, and instead they have these weekly sprint tournaments and things like that, which do not give as good of rewards. Now let's move on to the next big thing that was changed in this update. Car ranks. So every A-class car, as well as some B and C-class cars, have had their ranks changed in some way. Now most of the car stats have stayed the same, except for the TVR Cigaris Special Edition, which was nerfed by 10 miles per hour. This might be a mistake and they might change it back, but yeah, it already messed a lot of people up in its R&D. So they didn't drastically change the ranks of most of the cars. They're almost all within 50, in a lot of cases even 20 rank of what they were before. But multiplayer cars are the problem. My R8 e-tron SE had been at 1524. Now it is at 1663 for the same tune. Oh, and one very bad thing about this change is that Mastery ranks have stayed the same, so if you have a car whose rank was changed to be lower than it was before at Max Pro, good luck getting to Mastery 15. Not only have stock, Max, and Max Pro ranks changed, but upgrade rank percentages have as well, causing all multiplayer cars in Class A to have a much higher rank than they did before. At least at multiplayer tunes, because Top Speed and Nitro are now heavily weighted in all of the upgrade rank percentages. And a little side effect of all these changing ranks, the cars are now all out of order in their classes. And we get to the 3 really good A-class multiplayer cars, the SLK Special Edition, the Camaro, and the BMW Homage, which are now at the tops of their class. My SLK Special Edition had been at rank 1523. Now it is at rank 1856 with the same tune. That is a change in rank of like 300 something upward. So I decided to go into a multiplayer race and see what matchmaking was like. Now here I get knocked down at the beginning, that's normal for the SLK, so I decided to try to catch up and see what the cars were that were ahead of me. Now this was my first race in the season and I was not risking points, so it was rather odd to see a Vanda at the beginning of the race, which ends at 1751 or somewhere around there. So I was thinking that was a little bit weird because, yeah, normally you don't face cars that much below you unless you're risking points. But then I started seeing cars like the RX-8 Special Edition, which is not even at 1700, and I just accidentally knocked him down. And we have an MP48 1671 TVR Cigaris. What is this? Now, obviously, this was fine matchmaking for me, but not for those other cars, which are like 200 rank below me. So I decided to just wait till the end of the race and see what happened. At this point, I was thinking, maybe, what did they do? Take Asphalt 9's multiplayer matchmaking system and do it based on rating instead? Because this is what some other people had been thinking, but I don't think that is correct. And let me explain. So these cars were like 1563, 1630, 1578, and 1572. I'm at 1856, that's 300 above that. I think multiplayer is still matchmaking based on the old ranks of the cars, because my SLK was at 1523, it would make sense that I'd face those cars. And so if this is true, this just completely makes pointless everything they did to the ranks of the cars and just makes everything super confusing. Now, I don't want them to, quote, fix this and make multiplayer now match based on the new ranks of the cars. I just want them to change the ranks back to what they were before, and which was perfectly fine. Maybe change the rank of the R8 Special Edition, but leave the other cars alone, please. So I decided to try a different car and see what would happen. But after that race, I got the finish line box, which is apparently something you get if you get podium positions or something like this. But you can only get these every few hours, and they do not even give that good of cards. So let's move on to the multiplayer rewards, which have also changed. You can now get no free upgrades here. All they have is tokens, credits, and pro boxes. But all this would just make a dent into the token upgrades and the increased requirements for pro kits. And you don't get any tickets or anything early on in the rewards like before, so it's going to be difficult for people to get much points to get many of those things at all. I then decided to try multiplayer with an unchanged car, the Porsche Carrera GT, which I have at like 0502 5050 or something like that. The same tuning that I had in my multiplayer video, it's still at rank 1470, or it's around there anyway. Now in this race I was facing a couple M2 Special Editions, which I thought was pretty normal. There might be some at like 1523 or whatever, but then I remembered, hey, they changed the ranks of the M2 Special Edition and the RX-8 Special Edition and some other B-Class cars as well, like the Shelby Cobra, for example. They also changed some of the ranks of C-Class cars, like the GLC Coupe and the Range Rover and the M2. Do you see the trend going here? They're changing the ranks of so many multiplayer cars and making their upgrade rank percentages horrible, causing them to be only as good in multiplayer as anything else. Now, you still have to remember though, technically speaking, those changes haven't really been applied to multiplayer. Because as I said, ironically, it seems that the multiplayer is still matchmaking based on the old ranks of the cars. And at the end of this race, my theory about that was confirmed yet again, because I was risking some points at this point. I was maybe at 50%, and my 1470 was facing cars above 1600, or at least around there, and that car was changed to have higher ranks. Before, that would have been around 1500. So that matchmaking would have made perfect sense. But as I said earlier, what will likely happen is that Gameloft, quote, fixes this and makes multiplayer now based on the new ranks of the cars. We don't want that. We want the old ranks back. Except for perhaps the R8 SE, which I do agree needed a bit of a nerf at lower ranks. Mine's at 1663 at the same tuning as what was before at 1524, so it's gone up in rank by about 140. Now, this race threw me a bit of a curveball, and I'll explain why at the end of the race. So in this video, I've gone over most of the changes that have been done in the Fast Lane update and why I think they are very bad for the game and why people do not like them. Make no mistake, I want Asphalt 8 to continue being alive and continue going strong as much as you guys want it to as well. Here's what I believe is going on. Gameloft is trying to get people to move from Asphalt 8 to Asphalt 9, but the way to do that is not by making players that play Asphalt 8 furious and want to leave Gameloft games altogether. I personally really like Asphalt 9, but there are plenty of people who like Asphalt 8 better, and that is why I am promoting this petition so much, so that Asphalt 8 will continue for as long as possible. Huge thank you to Vuong Tung for creating the petition and working with me and Daniel Akinbola to make it as thorough, complete, and formal as possible. Before, when Gameloft made a bunch of cars that were already in the game have token upgrades, we made a petition and got over 1,000 signatures, and they reverted it. When the multiplayer matchmaking system changed so that cars were matched by speed rather than rank, we got a petition with over 1,000 signatures, and Gameloft reverted back to the old system. So I ask you, if you care about the future of Asphalt 8, please sign this petition. Maybe together we can save the game. I will send this petition to Gameloft when it gets a good amount of signatures. And now I will explain why this race confused me. I was at 100% risk. However, my previous car's rank was 1524, and it wouldn't make sense that I would be faced with those cars there whose ranks were not changed a whole lot. The multiplayer in this update is so messed up. Thank you for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 8 content. Be sure to sign the petition, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!